What's going on, everybody? You have Tone here, back with our team builder for week number 4 of the BBR D-League season number 1, where this week we are taking on the Sacramento Nidokings, coached by ITZWhateva. His link will be in the description down below. Be sure to check him out, as well as all the other coaches taking part in BBR D-League season number 1. So if you guys missed last week, we were taking on Hera and his Hera Horde Pokemon Club. We did come away with a 2-0 loss in that game on the in an instance where I probably should have played a little bit better around some Pokemon, and the end game against the Dragonite was pretty rough, and unfortunately I jumped from going into one matchup against the Terra Dragonite into another matchup with Terra Dragonite, which is probably the bane of my Gen 9 Draft League career so far. But regardless, there are some similarities between the last Terra Dragonite team we faced and this one. Both teams have a Dragonite, obviously. Terra Captains, Terra Flying, and Terra Normal. Both teams had an Azumarill, and both teams had a Gallade. So yeah, now looking forward to the whole D-Knight Azu response again, because it's bad enough that my response to Dragonite is Garganacl. And on top of that, Garganacl is weak to water, which he has not only the Azumarill, he also has Greninja, he has Great Tusk, he has a multitude of things to weaken my Garganacl to the point where I didn't even feel like bringing it in. Spoiler alert, I'm not. But regardless, I am going to try my best with this team builder. It is a bit unorthodox with some of the sets, but basically, it was just me trying to like think outside the box and trying to get at least back to 2-2 on the season. And considering that the season is fairly short at 7 weeks, so yeah, this is a must-win situation for us. It's also a must-win situation for my opponent, because despite his team, he is 0-3, and I am not going to take anyone for granted, regardless of their record. We also noticed that I did make a slight change to my team as opposed to the first 3 weeks, so I ended up dropping both Honchkrow and Dashbun, basically because I didn't really see a situation where I could actually relatively bring Honchkrow in good faith. And on top of that, when it came to Dashbun, while Dashbun was a low-tier fairy type, it really sucked in the sense of having that fairy type that became setup fodder to dragons, which is never good in that instance. Like, all the matches I were having against Dragon type, they could just Terra into a different typing, and I was be forced to bring, like, Roar. And then on top of that, trying to find a slot to fit Dashbun onto the team was pretty difficult, all things considered. So I ended up dropping both of those Pokemon, and I picked up Oricorio in response, just to make sure I still had that flying type that I lacked when I dropped Honchkrow. And also, in retrospect to dropping Dashbun, I changed the Terra Captain on my Espathra from Terra Fighting to Terra Fairy, because obviously there is no Fairy type on this team anymore. So yeah, note to my future self and future Gen 9 drafts: get a Fairy type early, don't wait. In any case, though, onto the team that I ended up building for this matchup, and I'll go over why I built what I built. So first off is probably the first of my few unorthodox sets, although more likely it's just 2. So this is the first one. This is probably the WinCon. I used the word WinCon loosely here, especially considering the set. And when you consider the item in the 4th move, it doesn't make any sense. But hear me out. The idea with this Dragon Pulse set is designed to try to bait the Wo-Chen to obviously click knockoff. I stay in, I get the reflect up, he goes for knockoff. I take my chip, but he pops my weakness policy, and you look at the combination of Shadow Ball, Thunderbolt, and Fire Blast, you look back at his team. He doesn't have much for the combination of all 3 moves. The main thing I do have to be concerned about is if if I am weakened to the point where I'm in range of dying to stuff like Aqua Jet from Azumarill, or even Greninja's Water Shuriken through Reflect. That could be a problem. Same thing applies to Gallade Shadow Sneak. I also have to see if the Greninja itself is Choice Scarf, because if it is, it outspeeds me, kills me with Dark Pulse. So I have to be very, very hesitant when it comes to the timing, when it comes to popping this thing off. So yeah, like I said, Shadow Ball, Thunderbolt, and Fire Blast hits everything on his team for neutral damage, and Reflect is just there to ensure I can take the physical hits from his team, which is for the most part physical, aside from the Greninja and the Sandy Shocks. I don't know what the Bronzong might be, but regardless, his team is predominantly physical for the most part. And then the EV spread is fairly straightforward. Max special attack to hit as hard as possible with enough speed for Greninja, rest in HP. Again, very straightforward set. On to another straightforward set is the Espathra with the Life Orb, Terra Fairy, Lumina Crash, Shadow Ball, Terra Blast, Protect. This is my way of getting rid of his Ghost Resist, being the fact that the Greninja, if it's not protein into a different type that's not weak to any of my 3 moves, then that would be ideal to get rid of that thing. Weakens the Wo Chen, easily to a KO by Terra Fairy. Shadow Ball for the Bronzong, and then Lumina Crash has to hit as hard as possible and do as much damage initially. As much as I detest Life Orb, I felt like doing the maximum damage I can with my set with Espathra would be ideal. Because like I said, Espathra is not the win con. It could become the win con, but it just depends on how the game ends up flowing in the match, so have to be very careful about that. I am modest nature though. I foregoed outspeeding Sandy Shocks. I just don't see Sandy Shocks being Scarf or choice in any way in the face of a Gastrodon. So I ended up just going for speed for a Great Tusk. I think it's either not a Great Tusk. I think it's Revroom actually that I'm outspeeding. I could be wrong. It's one of the two that I'm definitely outspeeding for sure. So yeah, that is the Espathra set. Then we have, for the first time, it's not Sash Meowscarada, so don't worry. So yeah, we have Miracle Seed on my Meowscarada, Flower Trick, Knockoff, Leaf Storm, and Spikes. This is just very straightforward. And Spikes help in chipping down his team from my Dragapult. And Miracle Seed is basically just there because I couldn't think of any other item to put on the Meowscarada per se. He does have 1 Grass Resist. It's the, well, 2 Grass Resist. 3 Grass Resist. And I guess the Dragonite hasn't terrored yet. But the meaning behind Miracle Seed is not only to do more damage with Flower Trick. You see we have Leaf Storm on there. And Leaf Storm is just basically there to ensure that I am able to OHKO the Great Tusk, even if it's max HP, because Flower Trick ain't going to do the trick. No pun intended. But yeah, Leaf Storm is just there to hit the Great Tusk on its weaker special side and get a knockout on that thing, because if it's bad enough that I have to face another Terra Dragonite, I have to deal with a Great Tusk, and considering my Tusk response is Oricorio, that's not the most ideal thing. So keeping the offensive pressure up on Tusk is the best way for me to go about this matchup. And I essentially have to be max speed to ensure that I have the ability to outspeed non-Scarf Greninja. So yeah, fairly straightforward set and EV spread. Nothing much else to say about that. Then we have the next weird and wonky unorthodox set that I have. Yes, this is a a Gastrodon with Rocky Helmet and Sticky Hold. So yeah, I am not bringing Storm Drain against a team that has 2 water types. Odd. Like, creepy and not really creepy, but very unorthodox. But yeah, the idea with this Gastrodon set was to catch, the main target of the set trying to catch off guard would be the Azumarill, because in the face of a Gastrodon, you're never clicking a water move in good faith in the face of a Gastrodon. Like, that's not something you do in that situation. And the reason why I'm Sticky Hold is to ensure that the Greninja, if its choice, cannot switcheroo me, because it does get access to switcheroo this generation. And if I was a regular Gastrodon, I could sit in front of it and, like, I basically have to bank on either not getting Dark Pulse flinched, or I bring Covert Cloak and ensure that the Greninja cannot 1v1 me, and I'd be specially defensive. But the idea with Gastrodon is to get damage off on the Azumarill. You see I have 92 speed EVs. That's enough to guarantee outspeed a no-speed Azumarill. The other thing is he cannot kill me with Trailblaze if it's not banded. if he's not banded, he never kills me. And even banded Play Rough does not OHKO this Gastrodon set. So with the combination of me outspeeding no speed Azumarill, I can Sludge Bomb. If it's not Assault Vest, I'm more so expecting it to be some sort of bulky AV set anyway for Polt. I can still get off damage to ensure that it's in range of dying to Dragapult or even my Espathra. So that's why we have both these. That's why we have the Speed EVs with Sludge Bomb, to ensure that I am able to get off the damage on Azumarill, and it also gives me a way of hitting the Wo-Chen super effectively. And then I have Surf, is just basically there to have a way of hitting the Bronzong without being walled by that thing. And then Stealth Rock is Stealth Rock, just to get up hazards. And then, of course, the last move we have is Endure, which is not only helpful for Azumarill, because at that point he still would never click Aqua Jet in the face of a Gastrodon. Like, why would you try to give a Gastrodon a special attack boost? But Endure is also there to ensure that I can at least take a hit, Endure down to 1 HP against something like basically the main target of this is the Dragonite. If I'm able to chip down the Dragonite with extreme speed to make it take more Rocky Helmet damage, then it puts it in range for the rest of my attacks. But the main thing I have to avoid doing is making sure that it doesn't set up too much. If it sets up too much, I'm going to get swept by that thing. There's no way around that, sadly. But yeah, that is the Gastrodon set. Nothing much else to say about that. Then we have our dedicated, well, more so the Greninja check of the team with our Cryogonal, Freeze Dry, Rapid Spin, Recover, Reflect. So yeah, if I'm not able to get a Reflect with the Dragapult, I do it with this. I really couldn't think of a fourth move to put for Cryogonal, because for the most part, I'm not really going to click anything else besides the first 3 moves. The fourth move is just a filler. There was nothing I could think of. I contemplated stuff like Frost Breath for a little bit, but there was no like coverage or lack thereof that I could really put on this Cryogonal in good faith, because the Bronzong would just come in on this every single time anyway. So I left it as is, and then the EVs are just enough speed to guarantee outspeed Sandy Shocks. The 220 HP is enough to guarantee avoid the 2 KO from Specs Greninja's Surf. And, well, I think it's Surf or Dark, both one of the two. I think it's both, actually, because I think they're just both the same base power. And then the rest is just putting a special attack just to do a bit more damage with Freeze Dry. Nothing much else to say about that. This is my means of making sure that he cannot hatch stack me with the combination of the Stealth Rock on Great Tusk, Spikes or Toxic Spikes with Greninja, Sandy Shocks, and Bronzong. Like, he has the options to hatch stack me, and this is just where I'm here to ensure that he cannot do that. And then lastly, we have making its debut. We are using the Oricorio for the first time this after picking it up, and we have Oricorio Pom Pom this time, because you saw my first 5 mons. Neither of those Pokemon appreciates dealing with Great Tusk. While Cryogonal is immune to ground, it's weak to fighting. So that was not a surefire way of dealing with that thing. So Oricorio is the dedicated Great Tusk check. And the word check is being used in the loosest form possible, because there is no Great Tusk checks on my team in good faith. I have stuff that can take 1 hit, but they're not switch-ins. This is not a switch-in, but then again, what really is in good faith? Regardless, this Oricorio set is designed to achieve 2 things. 1 was being the touch check, and 2 is technically, not really, be the D-Knight check, which obviously is not going to be a thing. So obviously with Dancer, I have the ability to copy Dragonite's Dragon Dance, which doesn't help because obviously Dragonite does get access to E-Speed and can revenge kill me anyway. So what I can do at the very least is quiver up. The idea is to set up before he sets up. That's basically the long and short of it. There's no other way around this. The other downside to Oricorio Pom Pom is this thing cannot do damage to Sandy Shocks, but I feel like I have enough on my team that can already pressure that thing to the point where it won't be that much of an issue. And for the most part, Pom Pom is the best form of Oricorio for this matchup, not only for being the touch check, but of course having Revelation Dance be an electro type move, being able to chip down the Greninja the Azumarill, and even if he is a Terra flying, Dragonite, I can hit that thing super effectively as well. So yeah, nothing much else to say about that. The speed is enough to guarantee outspeed Great Tusk with the 100 special attack EV is enough to guarantee Oko a max HP Great Tusk with Hurricane, and the rest is put into HP for some bulk. So with that, that is going to be the team for this week. Like I said, we do have some unorthodox stuff in here. Hopefully it doesn't come back to bite me in the butt, but I think for the most part, the biggest problem for my team, regardless, is going to be that Dragonite. Hopefully it doesn't come into fruition for Monday, but we'll just go have to wait and see. But again, that's going to be it for the Team Builder. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. I am very, very close to hitting 200 subscribers, and I would really, really appreciate it if you would help me achieve that goal. But yeah, check out my opponent, check out all the other coaches taking part in the BBR D-League, and until Monday, this is Tone, signing out for now. Peace out.